Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that ever since the debut of the Marvels on November 10th of 2023, that this is the very given point in time in which Marvel Studios hit rock bottom, seemingly, of course, by Kevin Feige and Bob Iger doing this all on purpose, having no care or any kind of care in the world about the ramifications and or consequences coming about these expensive failures by the MCU, and exactly what Kevin Feige has done for the past number of years now. Now, given that X-Men 97 is already beginning to meddle with their usage of DEI, with, of course, Season 1, and how they are doubling down with a Season 2 that's in serious discussions right now happening behind the scenes, one major element to a lot of this has a lot to do with their impact on the Marvel Universe at large. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So, we already know the criticisms surrounding X-Men 97 after they made Morph non-binary, quote-unquote, and how design changes are coming for some of the core characters, such as Rogue, and among others out there, that will be introduced in X-Men 97. Now, we already discussed how Season 2 is in very heavy talks right now between Feige, Bo DeMayo, as well as Bob Iger, and the rest of those over at Disney and Marvel Studios to really kind of use that as the first phase of this new Marvel Cinematic Universe. So let's discuss, and why this is really a recipe for disaster of what's looming for trying to gravitate toward 90s fans that grew up with the animated series. Now, with Bob Iger continuing to drive Disney into the ground, and seemingly on purpose, one major development has much to do with Bob Iger and Kevin Feige's plan to essentially transform the classic stories that fans grew up with in the 1990s. One crucial update to this ongoing situation has much to do with their plan to create a new cinematic universe for iconic Marvel characters that will embrace Disney's DEI agenda to a new height that will only create more controversy and pushback by fans. One alarming update to what Kevin and Bob are pushing and planning is to create a follow-up series to the animated series of Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk, Silver Surfer, and among others, to release sometime by the late 2020s on Disney Plus that will provide different character backgrounds, starting off in 2026. Already Kevin Feige has discussed giving new backgrounds to characters like Dr. Octopus and Venom for the Spider-Man animated series, and how pronouns will be inserted into the show in particular, with X-Men 97 Season 2 still moving forward between Iger and Feige that will serve as the first step to also promoting gender and race swapping. Already Disney wants to add this to a familiar set of characters with the Iron Man animated series follow-up as well. The severity of these changes are planned to be on par with what HBO did with the Velma series that has gained sharp criticism over the years. Out of the elongated conversation that did happen between the Disney heads and those associated with Marvel Studios to remake and or expand the shows that fans grew up with by Marvel Entertainment Group in the 1990s, the usage of DEI is planned to be used at extreme levels that will also impact characters like the Incredible Hulk specifically, and even the Thing from the Fantastic Four. This was a proposal, as it turns out, that was created by Kevin Feige and quickly accepted by Bob Iger and the Disney heads/executives. The Silver Surfer animated series from 1998 is also planned to do a complete gender swap to making him a woman, and that this is the main reason why Kevin Feige is pushing the idea to cancel the gender swap plans of Silver Surfer for the Fantastic Four live-action film in 2025. However, will be gender swapping that character and that idea in the animated form instead, since it will be treated as a separate universe, so to speak. This is an ongoing conversation happening between Feige and Bob Iger as we speak. This is essentially both Iger and Feige's plan to do a Marvel reset, if you will, that can eventually pave way to adapt these new forms of animated characters and iterations of the popular Marvel characters into live-action form. Already, Fantastic Four 2025 is planned to use elements of DEI, however some of those plans have since changed to use them in the animated series follow-up and the Silver Surfer spin-off series for Disney+. Now guys, let me just stop here for one moment. Now, we already talked about this lightly a couple of days ago about how they wanted to essentially adapt or continue, I should say, the Spider-Man animated series, quote-unquote, Spider-Man 98, and to kind of do their own spin on it, kind of similar to what they plan to do with X-Men 97 Season 2, which is going to be a whole lot more direct and less vague when it comes to Disney's agendas, right? And look, Bo DeMeo announcing how Morph is non-binary was just the beginning. That was just like the tip of the iceberg there. You know, the fact that he had to come out and say that, he got very angry with the fans, having an issue with that, and that's just the very beginning stage of what is looming for this new cinematic universe, quote-unquote. I don't know if you guys grew up with those movies, or should I say series, such as Spider-Man, the animated series, Fantastic Four, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man. I mean, there's so many of them that so many people grew up with, that this is almost, like I said before in a couple of videos back, cartoonishly evil by Disney to chase something like this, to do something to an extent like this, to really kind of just use nostalgia, bait, essentially is what it is, by using that overall artistic style of the previous animated series and using them as follow-ups to fit their agenda. But moving onwards, this is where it gets more intense, is that not only is, of course, Disney planning to adapt those 90s animated shows, but they are also planning to actually remaster them, and coming out with remastered versions of them where character designs will be watered down and or drastically changed to also fit their narrative and or agenda. Kevin Feige is already looking to hire showrunner Bo DeMeo of X-Men 97 to lead some of those shows that will prove, of course, different backgrounds of popular villains and or heroes of those animated classics. So again, they want to essentially change a lot of aspects of the characters' backgrounds. They want to shoehorn pronouns in there. They want to do all this non-binary stuff to different characters besides Morph. Like I said, Morph was just the beginning. They want to do this and apply this to other characters. And this is a thing that has been in the talks for quite a long time now, of adapting these 90s classics and really kind of just giving them follow-up series. So I think at the end of the day, this is really going to drive Disney into the ground. It's going to drive Marvel into the ground. You're only going to steer the loyal fans away, because let's not forget, a large chunk of Marvel fans did not read the comics per se. A lot of them, believe it or not, grew up with the 90s animated classics that eventually used that experience to go into the comics. So it's quite the reverse in that sense. So you can't lose fans like that, and if you do, you're really just digging a bigger hole, right? I feel like Disney's already in a hole, and they want to keep digging further without a care in the world of consequences or ramifications. That's just pretty much a given fact at this point in time. So overall, guys, drop a comment below. Fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.